All right, let's jump right in. Today we're going to unpack a really fascinating study from Dr. Hiroyuki Obari that asks a huge question about the future of learning. Can AI do more than just teach us a language? Can it actually help make us better global citizens? Let's find out.
We've all probably used AI to check our grammar or find a better word. That's pretty standard stuff. But what if it could do so much more? What if it could actually help us understand other cultures or even think more critically? That's the real question here.
So, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll set the stage with that big question. Then, we'll dive into a really cool university experiment. After that, we'll check out the results, talk about the human side of things, and finally, see if we can piece together a winning formula.
All right, section 1. Let's dig into this idea. Is AI just for fixing typos, or is there something more going on?
This right here, this is the heart of what Dr. Obari's research wanted to figure out. We're not just talking about getting better at English. The real goal was way bigger. Could this technology help students become more, globally aware, more analytical in how they think?
So how do you even begin to answer a question like that? Well, you run an experiment. And that's exactly what the research team did. A pretty bold one, I might add, right inside Globus Professional University.
Okay, so here's the setup. Picture this, a 30-week, super intensive course. You've got 10 Japanese university students. Now, they're using all these AI tools, sure, but, and this is the key part, they're also having real, live conversations with American students. That mix of tech and human interaction is everything.
And the tech they were using? We're talking about the big names, ChatGPT, Gemini, Grammarly, the whole lineup. But here's what's so cool. They weren't just using it like a spell checker. No way. They were using it to get deep feedback, to actually refine the structure of their arguments. It's a much deeper use of the technology.
Their weekly routine was actually pretty fascinating. Get this. They'd start by handwriting a draft. Yeah, old school, pen on paper, just to get the ideas flowing. Then, they'd snap a picture with their phone, let the AI work its magic to level up the language, and finally, they'd present it to the group. It's this awesome mix of analog and digital.
And at the core of all this was this really powerful learning loop. They'd watch a video, write a quick 200-word summary, and then, here's the clever bit, they'd feed it to an AI to get a better version. But they couldn't just copy it. They had to analyze the difference. Why was this sentence structure better? What did that new vocabulary add? That's where the magic really happened.
But, it wasn't all screens and algorithms. A huge part of this course were these immersive sessions with 13 American exchange students. And that's something AI just can't do, right? That real, sometimes messy, totally unpredictable human connection, that's the stuff that really motivates you. And this is where you really see how it all comes together. Those AI-assisted essays, they weren't just English homework. They were tools that helped the students grapple with some really big ideas from their lectures. We're talking cross-cultural intelligence, global leadership, even their own worldviews. It's about using language to think. Okay, so that's the experiment. A pretty cool setup, right? But the million-dollar question is, did it actually work? Let's get into the results and see what the numbers have to say. And the data is pretty striking. The students took a standardized English test called the CACEC test before and after. And just look at that jump in their average scores. For you stats folks, that p-value basically means this wasn't a fluke. There's a better than 95% chance this improvement was real. Bottom line, the method worked. And we're not just talking about test scores on a piece of paper. Their actual speaking ability leveled up in a huge way. They crossed this really important line, going from high beginner to independent user. What does that actually mean? Well, it means going from just getting by to being able to handle real life. Confidently navigating a trip or actually taking part in a meeting at work. That is a massive, massive jump. So what about the students? Did they buy into all this? Absolutely. A whopping 87.5% of them said the AI tools were actually useful. That's huge. It tells you this wasn't some tech gimmick they were forced to use. They genuinely found value in it. But numbers, they only tell part of the story. Now we're going to get into what might just be the most important piece of this whole puzzle, the human element. Turns out, it's absolutely irreplaceable. I mean, just listen to this quote from one of the students. AI provided the structure, but the American students provided the motivation. It was the combination that changed how I think. Wow, that just says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures how these two things work together. All right, now look at this number, 90%. What is that? That's the percentage of students who said they saw real growth in their critical thinking and their understanding of other cultures. 9 out of 10. This is the real payoff. It shows the experiment hit its main target. It went way beyond grammar and actually started building global competence.
So you can really think of the outcome as having 3 pillars. You've got communicative competence, that's the better test scores. You've got cognitive development, that's the critical thinking boost we just saw. And then you have cultural intelligence, which came directly from those conversations with the American students. All 3 together support this idea of global intelligence.
So, when you put all of this together, what do you get? Well, it leads us to our final takeaway, a powerful, winning formula that really does seem to combine the best of both worlds. This graphic sums it up perfectly. On the one hand, you have AI. It's giving you the structure, the instant feedback, that awesome learning loop. But on the other hand, you have the humans. They're bringing the motivation, the why, the real-world context. And when you combine them, that's when things get truly transformative.
So here's a simple way to think about it. AI is amazing at exploiting information, organizing it, polishing it, making it technically perfect. But humans, our job is to explore intelligence. We ask the weird questions, we build relationships, we search for meaning. You absolutely need both.
And that really leaves us with one last big question to chew on. This study is a fantastic blueprint for language learning for sure, but the lesson here is so much bigger, isn't it? As AI weaves itself into pretty much every part of our lives, how do we find the right balance? How do we harness all that incredible technological power without losing that essential, irreplaceable human connection? That's really the question for our future.